He was very down to earth, very considerate. He made sure to take time to get to know me because
Blake Lively played this character called Serena Vanderwoods, and she was very popular, especially amongst the boys. And
Justin Baldoni is being dragged into a legal disaster so messy it makes Hollywood drama look tame. Between explosive subpoenas, massive public backlash, and a lawsuit that could cost him everything, this isn't just another celebrity feud. This is a full-blown legal meltdown, and the most shocking part, it all started with Blake Lively. Justin Baldoni used to be untouchable. He was the Hollywood sweetheart, the man behind Jane the Virgin's most beloved character, and the visionary creator who dared to challenge toxic masculinity through his films and social impact projects. He was the guy with the inspirational TED Talk, the $1 million smile, and a reputation cleaner than polished glass. But now he's staring down the barrel of something he never saw coming. His own insurance company just turned on him.
So these are individuals, I don't exactly know who a lot of them are, but there's a list of individuals that were apparently given a subpoena.
That's right, Harco National Insurance Company, the very entity that was supposed to shield him from legal disasters, is dragging him into court. And not just for some clerical mistake, they're accusing him and his company, Wayfarer Studios, of flat-out deception. Harco says Baldoni's team knew about a serious harassment allegation from Blake Lively before their policy went into effect and chose to stay silent. If that's true, we're not just talking about a lawsuit, we're talking about fraud. And what does this mean in real-world terms? Money. Lots of it. Harco is making it crystal clear. If Baldoni hid anything, they don't owe him a single cent.
Filed a 71-page filing with the court in the Lively Wayfair matter.
No legal fees, no coverage, no protection. Everything, from court costs to settlements, could fall squarely on Justin's shoulders. This isn't just a legal headache, it's a potential financial landslide, a six-figure one. But the timeline is where it gets even more damning. According to Harco's legal filings, Baldoni's coverage began in July 2023. But Blake Lively's legal team alleges the incidents in question occurred between April and June, just before the policy kicked in. And here's the kicker. When Wayfarer renewed the policy in July 2024, they explicitly claimed there were no known legal threats, complaints, or pending issues from the past year. Seriously? By then, not only had Blake's team sent formal demand letters, but an entire lawsuit was already in motion. So if Harco's version of events holds up, it looks like someone tried to slide $1 million mess under the rug and hoped no one would notice.
Try to synthesize it into, a couple minutes on here, but there's a lot done.
But Harco noticed, and now they want the court to strip Justin of coverage completely. No legal cushion, no safety net, just Justin, facing the wrath of a powerful co-star and the weight of a betrayal lawsuit from his own insurers. It's a stunning reversal, one where the man once praised for his transparency is now accused of hiding the truth. And if you thought that was the worst of it, now here's where the real fire started. Because if Justin Baldoni thought the lawsuit from Blake Lively was messy, what came next turned it into a full-blown media inferno. Blake didn't just accuse Wayfarer Studios of workplace misconduct behind the scenes, she claimed there was an orchestrated smear campaign against her, one that spread across YouTube, social media, even mainstream entertainment outlets. Her team insisted this wasn't just bad press, this was premeditated character assassination.
Big Bird Blake, also known as Burrito Bathroom Blake, has officially subpoenaed users.
And who did she blame for it? Wayfarer, and by extension, Justin himself. Her lawyers pointed fingers at a PR firm hired by Wayfarer called TAG Strategies and claimed they secretly used influencers and anonymous sources to paint Blake as the villain in her own story. That's a serious accusation, one that suggests coordinated manipulation of the media. And that's when this stopped being a typical he said, she said. Because Blake wasn't just playing defense anymore, she was going on the offensive. She sent subpoenas to Google, TikTok, and X, formerly Twitter, demanding personal data and financial records from content creators who covered her lawsuit. Think about that. Creators who made videos or tweets criticizing her suddenly found themselves in the crosshairs of legal threats. And the public, they didn't like it. Even her
And I had a pastor once who said, Do things in the light. Do it in the light.
Fans began to question her. Forums lit up, Reddit threads exploded. Tweets went viral accusing her of trying to silence the press and censor independent voices. Suddenly, Blake wasn't the victim anymore. She was being called a bully. And Justin, he hadn't even said a word yet, but in the court of public opinion, silence is never neutral. It's strategic. Behind the scenes, his team filed a scathing response. They said the backlash Blake was getting had nothing to do with them. They didn't deny hiring a PR firm, but they insisted it only happened after she went public with her accusations, and they doubled down. The damage to Blake's reputation wasn't because of a smear campaign. It was self-inflicted. According to them, these subpoenas, the ones targeting random users and YouTubers, were the real PR disaster.
Blake Lively's team is responding to the backlash for all of these.
And the fallout? Entirely on her. But the tension didn't end in court. It spilled into every corner of the internet. Videos mocking Blake gained millions of views. Journalists started to call out her tactics. Creators rallied together, filing motions to quash the subpoenas. Even judges started to raise eyebrows. And while all this drama unfolded, guess who was footing the legal bill? That's right, Justin. And with his insurance company trying to ditch him, the financial noose was tightening fast. But the worst was yet to come because Blake wasn't finished. She wanted names, she wanted receipts, and Justin's inner circle was about to face the heat. If Blake Lively's goal was to silence the noise, she accidentally turned up the volume to max. Her subpoenas weren't just aggressive, they were unprecedented.
Subpoena to Google. And my update regarding that is just to share with you that I have
Blake was demanding private account info, financial transactions, and even IP addresses from Google, TikTok, and X, all to unmask creators who posted about her. In her eyes, these creators weren't just critics. They were part of a coordinated smear effort, or so she claimed. But here's the catch. Most of these people, they weren't hired guns or secret insiders. They were independent creators, journalists, and even casual users with no connection to Justin Baldoni or his production company. And the internet didn't stay quiet. The move triggered a digital rebellion. Influencers, journalists, legal analysts, all began sounding the alarm. They accused Blake of trying to weaponize the legal system to intimidate and punish anyone who dared to talk about her.
In her efforts to prove this untraceable smear campaign happened, Blake Lively has sent out subpoenas to Google. And
it didn't matter if the coverage was fair, factual, or just opinion. She wanted it gone. Creators pushed back hard. They lawyered up, filed joint motions to quash the subpoenas. Some publicly called her out for abusing the court system. One creator summed it up perfectly. This isn't about privacy. This is about power. And Blake's trying to silence anyone who won't bow. Even media watchdogs began drawing comparisons between her tactics and the kinds of legal bullying used to chill free speech. But here's the twist. After weeks of backlash and likely some very tense meetings with her own attorneys, Blake began withdrawing some of the subpoenas. Quietly, one by one, no apology, no admission, just silent retractions sent to the court. Why? Because she knew the court was getting close to calling her out.
Just posted a YouTube video about this Blake Lively legal headache I'm dealing with right now. Because Blake Lively subpoenaed.
Some judges were already entertaining sanctions. Legal experts were suggesting she may have crossed serious ethical lines. One of her own attorneys, Ezra Hudson, was now facing potential bar complaints for how the subpoenas were handled. It wasn't damage control, it was retreat. But it was too late. Because the moment those subpoenas hit the news cycle, Blake Lively went from plaintiff to public villain. And Justin's team didn't even have to lift a finger. This time, the court of public opinion had already ruled. And as Blake tried to undo the damage, Justin Baldoni was preparing for something much worse. A new lawsuit that could leave him paying everything out of pocket. And that's where things take a turn for the catastrophic. Just when it looked like Blake Lively's legal crusade was finally slowing down.
So Blake Lively's deposition is going to be taken at Madison Square Garden. Well, probably not, but that's...
Justin Baldoni got hit with a lawsuit of his own. But this one wasn't from Blake. It was from his own insurance company. Yep, Harco National Insurance, the provider meant to protect Justin and Wayfarer Studios from costly legal battles, turned around and sued them. Why? Because Harco claims they were misled, and now they're refusing to pay a single dime to cover his defense. Let's break that down. Wayfarer Studios had 2 active insurance policies meant to cover productions and potential liabilities between 2023 and 2025. Sounds routine, right? But here's the twist. Blake's allegations, including harassment claims, supposedly stem from events that happened before those policies took effect. Even worse, Harco says Wayfarer knew about at least one complaint before applying for the insurance.
So silly again. You know that's not true. That's not true.
That's a big deal, because insurance providers specifically ask, are there any known issues or potential claims we should know about? And Wayfarer's answer, according to Harco's legal filing, was a resounding no. That one box, it could cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars, because now Harco is arguing that Wayfarer violated the terms of the policy, meaning they're not responsible for covering legal fees tied to Blake's lawsuit. Translation, if the court agrees, Justin could be stuck footing the entire growing by the day. And remember, this isn't a small PR spat. It's a high-stakes cross-country legal war complete with subpoenas, discovery battles, and possible sanctions. Legal experts estimate this case could easily hit 6 figures in costs.
Obviously, they're not sending these subpoenas to TMZ. They're not sending them to all these other places that also get these types of...
Maybe more. If Harco wins, Justin won't just be fighting for his reputation, he'll be fighting to stay financially afloat. And that's not even the wildest part, because the lawsuit also suggests something much darker, that Wayfarer may have tried to hide evidence during their insurance renewal. Harco is accusing them of omitting key complaints, emails, and even internal meetings that directly tied to Blake's eventual legal claims. If proven true, it's not just about money anymore. It becomes a question of fraud. Suddenly, this isn't just Blake versus Justin, it's Justin versus his insurer, a once trusted ally now threatening to leave him completely exposed. And with both sides digging in, it looks like no one's backing down. But the question now is, can Justin survive a two-front war?
Let's get into some lively stuff. She's asked for an extension to her deposition. The deposition is supposed to be next Thursday, July 7th.
Because while he's battling Blake in the headlines, the insurance fight could quietly destroy everything behind the scenes. And trust me, what comes next is even messier. While Justin was scrambling behind the scenes to keep his legal team funded, Blake Lively was facing a different kind of disaster, a full-blown PR nightmare she never saw coming. At first, it looked like she was in control, with a powerful lawsuit, an emotional narrative, and legal teams sending subpoenas across platforms like Google, TikTok, and X, formerly Twitter. Blake seemed ready to dominate the public conversation. But then everything turned on her. Why? Because she didn't just go after corporations. She targeted creators, independent content creators, some with small followings, others with massive reach.
This is all done. What happens to Baldoni's career? Do you think this hurts him? It certainly puts him on the map. A lot of people didn't know him now.
She sent subpoenas demanding private information, phone numbers, addresses, even bank details. People weren't just shocked, they were furious. And the internet doesn't forget. Reddit threads exploded, comment sections lit up, tweets went viral overnight, and suddenly, Blake's image as a beloved actress turned into something far more divisive, a Hollywood elite trying to silence independent voices. Worse, many of the people she targeted weren't professional journalists or influencers. Some were just regular people who posted commentary online. That made it feel less like legal strategy and more like intimidation. Even creators who hadn't received subpoenas started speaking out. Some hired lawyers, others filed motions to quash. Blake's team quickly backtracked.
Naughty, naughty, naughty. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media.
Withdrawing subpoenas one by one, claiming they were no longer needed. But by then, the damage was done. The headlines wrote themselves, Blake Lively sparks free speech debate. Hollywood star targets YouTubers over coverage. Creators fight back against celebrity subpoenas. Even traditional media outlets couldn't ignore the backlash. And here's the irony. The very legal battle Blake launched to protect her image ended up torching it in public. Instead of gaining sympathy, she triggered a digital uprising. Creators began openly mocking the subpoenas. Memes flooded social media. Public opinion swung fast and hard. And for Blake, who once controlled red carpets and press tours, the feeling of losing control must have been suffocating. Her team tried to spin it, of course. But with every new withdrawal and legal reversal, the narrative became clearer.
Blake Lively is definitely not everyone's favorite person right now, but that will not stop her friends from throwing her a birthday bash, it seems.
Blake had overreached. She didn't just take the fight to court, she took it to the internet, and the internet fought back harder than she ever expected. What started as Blake Lively's legal offensive is now spiraling into a high-stakes legal disaster, and not just in public opinion, but in courtrooms too. At the center of it all, Harco National Insurance Company, Justin Baldoni's own insurance provider. Instead of backing him in the fight against Blake's allegations, they're suing him. Why? Because they claim he and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, withheld key information when they applied for coverage. And here's where it gets messy. Harco says they issued a policy in July 2023 covering Wayfarer Studios through 2025.
It's broad for a reason. Hey everyone, it's been revealed that Justin Baldoni's crisis PR team.
But Blake's claims? They allegedly stem from incidents between April and June 2023, before the policy even started. Worse, Harco alleges that Wayfarer knew about Blake's accusations but failed to disclose them when applying for or renewing their coverage. If Harco wins, that could leave Justin and Wayfarer on the hook for every single dollar of legal defense. We're talking 6 figures, maybe more, out of pocket. And this twist puts Blake in a surprising position. She may have triggered the legal avalanche, but now her lawsuit is destabilizing everything around her. It's not just a PR war anymore, it's a financial ticking time bomb. And here's the kicker. Blake Lively's legal team has been framing this whole situation as a fight for justice, alleging a smear campaign against her by Wayfarer, Justin, and PR firm TAG.
I found out from TMZ literally 2 hours ago that I have been subpoenaed.
Do you want to go to war, Malaki?
But Justin's lawyers are firing back hard, stating there's zero evidence of any such campaign. They argue that what Blake's really fighting isn't a shadowy media plot. It's the backlash from her own choices. Even more damning, TAG, the PR firm at the center of Blake's accusations, didn't even get involved until after the backlash had already begun. And now Blake's team is walking back subpoenas, dropping demands, and desperately trying to reframe the story. But you can't unring a bell. Blake's lawsuit didn't just open the door to discovery, it opened Pandora's box. Now, with multiple parties fighting each other in court, her credibility, motives, and even her finances are all on trial. The very system she leaned on for protection is now pushing back hard, and this legal blowback, it's not just an inconvenience. It's a warning sign that even Hollywood—
Why August is the worst month for a celebrity to go through a PR crisis.
Power players can't control the narrative forever. At first, it looked like Blake Lively was trying to defend her image. Now, it looks like she's single-handedly lighting the match to burn it all down. This isn't just bad press, it's a public relations catastrophe unraveling in full view of millions, and it's getting worse by the hour. While Blake's legal team quietly pulls back subpoenas one by one, no public apology, no admission of overreach. The internet has already declared war. Content creators she tried to subpoena are now making videos with millions of views, exposing her tactics, reading court filings aloud, and publicly asking, why is Blake targeting independent journalists? And here's the kicker, those journalists have receipts, actual legal documents, emails, and time-stamped evidence, the kind of stuff you can't spin.
Because now that I know you're subpoenaing TikTok, throw me on the stand, girl. Blake Lively.
She tried to silence them. Instead, she gave them a bigger platform than ever. And now they're using that spotlight to dismantle the Blake Lively brand piece by piece. Meanwhile, her fan base, it's fractured. The Blake stans who once defended every red carpet moment have either gone quiet or worse, turned. Online forums are calling her dangerous. Reddit threads are labeling her unhinged. Even TikTok creators who were previously neutral are weighing in, calling it a masterclass in how to destroy your reputation. And let's talk about the mainstream media. They usually tread lightly with A-listers. But not this time. Even People, Vanity Fair, and Variety are starting to raise eyebrows. Headlines now read less like celebrity updates and more like crisis reports. Lively faces backlash for subpoenaing journalists.
With all of this Blake Lively drama going on, I thought, okay, might as well hop on here. I'm Blake's.
Celeb lawsuit sparks free speech debate. It's clear now this isn't a legal misstep. This is a strategic disaster. What makes it worse? Her silence, no video statement, no heartfelt Instagram notes, no damage control, just a vague withdrawal letter to the court and a hope that people stop talking. But when you've weaponized the legal system against your critics, silence doesn't read as grace, it reads as guilt. And that's the problem. Blake underestimated how smart, organized, and legally savvy the creator economy has become. These aren't anonymous trolls. These are journalists, lawyers, influencers, and former fans, armed with court access and ready to dissect every move she makes. She tried to sue them into silence. Instead, she amplified their voices. Her name, once associated with fashion, prestige, and charm, is now trending beside terms like censorship.
I was recently on a red carpet with Blake Lively. Here she is, and here she is again, talking to the reporter about her nails. And here's
Abuse of power, and yes, meltdown, because that's what this is. Not a slow decline, not a momentary misstep. This is a full-scale meltdown of her brand, her image, and maybe, just maybe, her career. And it's all playing out in real time, like one court filing at a time, and Blake Lively thought she was controlling the narrative. Instead, she walked straight into a reputational minefield of her own making. When she filed that lawsuit, the goal seemed clear: protect her name, shift the blame, and take back the spotlight. But the execution? It's been a masterclass in what not to do when you're under scrutiny. First came the subpoenas, broad, invasive, and widely seen as an attack on independent speech, not just to media outlets, but to individual content creators, some of whom weren't even journalists.
Okay, the New York Times motion to dismiss. It is, without fail, the biggest stuff gets filed on the days when
She demanded their identities, financials, and even private account info. It didn't just feel excessive, it felt vindictive. Then came the retractions, quiet withdrawals filed in court without apology or explanation. But by then, it was too late. Screenshots had already circulated. The internet had receipts. And instead of regaining control, Blake's actions triggered an online rebellion. Ironically, the very lawsuit meant to repair her image has now cemented her in the public's mind as the aggressor, not the victim. Her attempts to control the media have only given rise to louder, angrier voices. The creators she tried to silence? They're being hailed as defenders of free speech. And Blake? She's facing a growing wave of criticism that even her PR team can't seem to stop.
Taylor Swift has deleted the following posts of Blake Lively from her IG. You know.
And if that wasn't enough, the financial implications are stacking up. With her insurer suing to deny coverage, Blake and her team may be staring down a mountain of legal bills. Legal experts are now speculating that the strategy to hit hard and fast might have backfired entirely, leaving her legally exposed and publicly battered. What was once framed as a case about harassment and accountability has now turned into a cautionary tale, a celebrity using legal firepower in a digital age where transparency is just one screenshot away. In trying to silence a few voices, Blake ended up giving them the megaphone. Because in today's media world, power doesn't come from being the biggest name in the room, it comes from being the one who tells the truth first. And right now, the truth is turning against her. Blake Lively didn't just step into controversy, she lit the match herself and then stood in the smoke.
Sorry, we got that. Oh, hi. Background artists, I pay for background artists to come in and out of the, you can say.
Wondering why no one could breathe. From A-list acclaim to online backlash, from high-fashion red carpets to legal minefields, she's gone from one of Hollywood's most admired to one of its most questioned. And not because of a scandal beyond her control, but because of a series of calculated missteps, overreactions, and public misreads, all while the cameras kept rolling. What was meant to protect her image became a disaster reel. Every subpoena, every PR spin, every tearful moment on stage was met not with sympathy, but with skepticism. She didn't just lose control of the narrative, she handed it to her critics on a silver platter. And now, as fans walk away, studios go silent and creators grow louder. One thing has become clear. This wasn't a takedown, it was a meltdown. But perhaps the most haunting part, this story doesn't end with a dramatic exit or final curtain. It ends in silence, the kind that follows when the world stops watching. So if there's one lesson in all this, it's simple. In the age of social media, your reputation isn't something you own, it's something you earn. And once it's gone, no lawsuit in the world can bring it back.